he's like, I'm not saying no. And like she flew him up. It was like during the Hudlin days. It was some little enter
He
like
was
that.
I know when he was the most dangerous man alive when he was over there in uh Hell's Kitchen. He didn't want her help, and I think he was taking on I think Craven the Hunter, and she showed up to help him and everything like that. He's like, I thought I told you, like I got this, like, and he actually left her in Wakanda. That was crazy. Like he like I'm in Hell's Kitchen handling some business. I need to get my stuff back together and everything like that. So that's what I remember that scene from when he was in Hell's Kitchen. She showed up to give him some assistance, and he kind of like chided her and everything like that. But they wound up getting busy later on, right after this.
Getting some quick Black Panther history from the historians themselves. We got Mr. Theo Butler as always. I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
What's up? What's good? What's pop? What's progress? Greg Lewis really good. Come on,
That's
cut
what I
that
was
thing on
waiting
up.
on. Yeah.
What's up? What's good? What's Craig Spurley? It was really good in the hood. It is your man Theo Butler here with my brothers from another, Marcus, Josh. Y'all can't see him. My brother Drew Chill. I call him Drew Chill. Drew Hill fan. That
I
reference
know
and
all about
everything.
Cisco. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got his favorite podcaster, of course, Chillmonger, in the building
Numero
today.
uno, my favorite, number one, most popping. The guy who I watch the most on this phone here is literally me, and that's not a lie. That really is
No,
me.
that's it should be true for a lot of creators. I don't think it is, but it should be.
You learn a lot from watching yourself and then
Watching
seeing what you
yourself,
could have done
absolutely.
wrong. Woo.
Watch
daughter,
every video we do. Yep.
are you watching the
That's
video of
me.
you? I said, yes, I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong there. So there are quite a few areas of opportunity when you watch the video.
You
Absolutely,
know what I
man.
always do wrong? My music. Whenever I insert music underneath the voice, it's always too loud. And I think all YouTubers have that issue. Whenever like Kaizuku Slev and you guys did a video together and the volume levels were never in sync with each other. I'm talking about Back in the Bus. It was like, ooh, one guy spoke a little higher than the other guy. One guy and you never get it right while you're
Kind
like
of
on.
hard. Everybody's using different recording devices. We're sending the links back and forth between each other, so it's hard to kind of regulate it. But you're right. You're right.
I
I
actually
mean,
got some constructive criticism from you on that one time, Chill. You like, hey man, the laugh and the tracks that you put in the background are too loud. I said, okay, let me bring that down a little bit. So it does help. It does help.
well, for sure, man. We are definitely in the building, and we're here to discuss. Y'all know what we're here for. Black Panther #1, Miss Eve Hewing's debut. Got yet another #1 issue. Hopefully, this one lasts longer than
15.
15. Oh, look at the guys! Look at them! Look at them! Showing off!
I'm just preparing for. Ooh, you got all the
Showing off!
variants.
Showing off!
We said we were gonna show the sister some love. Now I don't.
No, for
That's
sure, for sure,
right.
for sure.
That's
So I thought we could kind of do the quick overview of what actually happened in the book, and then we can kind of give our thoughts on where it's going, how it started, general thoughts. Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
I'm with it.
So the introduction, first couple of pages, is T'Challa's introspective on everything that has transpired. Obviously, we knew we were going to get this at the onset. She pretty much told us, like, I'm not going to burn it all away, but I'm also going to write my story. Is what we heard officially from her. In these first couple of pages, I think she does as good of a job as you could, at least an adequate job of addressing it, but not getting into the particulars as to, kind of fluff up the negative from the last run. It's a lot of vague terms like I'm a fool and I never really truly knew my city. It's not directly referencing Kill Switch or any of that other stuff, or the Aurora or Akili or Folasada, any of that stuff. We haven't even seen any of those characters to date, which great. But it's very light. It's pointing us in the right direction, but it's also not, rubbing our nose in what had been, what was kind of shunned,
I was
I
playing
enjoyed the
Where is Waldo?
No, go, Chill.
Well, I was looking for T'Challa in each of these pictures in the beginning of the comic and just reading the words. Yeah, it was very vague. And so you sheltered everybody who may be new to this, who didn't read the prior 15 from that human piece of filth. That guy and the writing work from there, as rubbish as it was, never really seeped into this. We just kind of understand that T'Challa is at a lower point without getting into the, gentle punching him up and Jahai and Captain America and the rest of everything. Okay.
A la Jed McKay. Jed McKay is doing the same thing in the Avengers book that he's writing now. Got there, pointed us in the right direction as to where he is as a character, but we not digging back in the mud. What do you think, Theo?
The dialogue, the reflection on T'Challa's part was very, very telling. Like, I took a lot from it. If this were a real person, they would be going down the road. They would be reflecting like that. I especially like the piece where she stated when he referenced the Avengers, where he said they weren't able to stay on the more high ground. They needed me more than
I
they
love
needed.
that. I love that she wrote that. That was dope.
He's like, okay, because if you were him and you felt like you had been wrong and the people came back to holler at you, that would be your mindset. So
Yeah.
Lord, that bit of storytelling, as you guys alluded to, being able to reference what transpired in the past, but not getting bogged down in it, doing a great job of telling this story because this is really told from T'Challa's perspective. This first issue this is very much him speaking. I loved it. It was very, very telling. And she took her time with it, and I can appreciate that.
And I also love that. I think that's it. I don't think that we're gonna be talking about the prior stuff from Human Rubbish. I think we're good, and now it's all about that new character,
Oh, we refer
Bisa,
to him as Voldemort over here. That's Voldemort.
or
Yeah.
El Diablo,
He shall not be
Voldemort.
named.
Mm. And he's not getting named. You think we're gonna slip up during the stream?
It's crazy.
No reason to. Let's leave him in the dust where he belongs. But you know why I like that bit about the Avengers not being able to keep the moral high ground is because so often over the last 4 or 5 years of Black Panther writing, it's been so often that this man has been forced to look back in on himself and take blame for some wrong past doing. It does kind of feel good to watch him stand up and be a king, actually be someone who has a bit more pride, even call it arrogance, to fall that low, even in the small bit of victories he may be able to take, petty or not, he's taking it. Like it's a callback to a character that we all ought to know a while back. And she's throwing out little pieces of it so far. We haven't gotten a whole lot of it yet, but it's a lot better. A lot better than, oh man, I suck so bad. Why am I even here?
He sounds like a competent guy. There's a line here where he says, "Trust is eroding," and that leaves an unsettling vacuum. That's what someone who has everything under control and knows what he's talking about would say. Meanwhile, he's just flying across the city, gliding from skyscraper to skyscraper as he's saying this. So it really builds him up. It makes him seem like a superhero that has it all together.
It's a real. Oh, go ahead, Theo.
He might be confused, and I know you'll touch on this later on as we delve into the story. He might be confused about quite a few things. Being the Black Panther is not one of them. Like in this issue, he is confidently the Black Panther.
Oh yeah. That derail in there, real on the stream.
In the building.
What's going on, brother? Good to have you.
Ain't nothing. I'm indisposed, so I can't visually be there.
I got you. Well, we appreciate you joining any way you can. Contribute to the convo, man. We haven't really started too much. We got a quick few pages to CHALLA kind of setting the table to where we are at the beginning of the run. I was going to mention I think we get a quick look at the crime family. Is that who we're looking at here? The kids that were running away and then ended up back at their grandfathers. I think, is that what Babu means?
They definitely related to some. They definitely connected in some form or fashion.
Yeah, and Babu Baba, that's that's father. So I mean, that
Okay.
could be father, that could be godfather.
Yeah.
And
It
so,
kind of
Maybe he's got a little Oliver Twist thing going there. You know.
mhm. Yeah.
worried when they first popped up on the scene because to see pocket picking in Wakanda, I'm going, no, the situation for you guys, there should be no poverty, there should be nobody poor enough, where this is a realistic thing that you guys would be doing if you don't have enough. This is Wakanda, they should have that stuff settled. Call it socialism, call it any ism. Wakanda-ism prevents this from being a scenario. So when I got to hear what they said later on, it was more so like a challenge, a sort of
Challenge. That's what I was getting. Yeah, it was like a task. Yeah, it was a task. It wasn't petty crime. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I understand that. I get
That
that.
that changes everything. That makes it, oh,
Mhm.
okay, all right, good.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
you know
Yep.
what got me was, okay, if you read the issue, finished it, completed it, that should not have, and I'm not saying you chill, but I was amazed at how many people read the issue and it's like, there should be no crime in Wakanda. Wait, why not? Well, should nobody, they shouldn't need anything. Like, if she actually opens up the book and tells you that burning T'Chaka is a city of need. She literally said, like, they don't
Of
want
necessity.
anything.
Yeah. Yep.
She
Hmm.
literally,
It's impossible,
like,
literally
and
impossible to have a society and not have some faction
Zero
of that
crime.
society in need.
What is this?
right.
Minority Report?
Nah, it
You,
ain't Minority Report. It's
you,
life. I mean, if we're trying to endear you to this scenario, to this picture, to this storyline, we got to make it relatable.
Well,
So I
yeah, I think that goes back to what Chill was saying. It's like if it was something that was random and just looked like it was happening everywhere around the streets, like we got gas barrels with fires coming out of them, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Then that's the one thing. But then if it's something that's particularly set up for a purpose or is going to mean something down the line, and that's what it's seeming like. This was that challenge that he's talking about, or that
It
the
was to
Mozzie, the
it was the
Mosey.
chase.
The chase. There you go. Um, if that's going to play a further role, then that's a little bit more directed, and so like it doesn't feel like you're degrading the overall quality of what you were trying to build up in Wakandan society. But you're right. It's virtually impossible to have a society that large or that vast without any crime. You would just think it's not probably one of their biggest problems.
right.
Because clearly there is indeed crime in
Yeah, for sure.
Bernin T'Chaka. There
Hmm.
is definitely extortion in Bernin T'Chaka. There is
Hmm.
definitely terroristic threats in Bernin T'Chaka. And it
Hmm.
sure look like there's some people there who can carry it out.
And I hope
It,
this is the Desturi remnants, people who were part of that faction, who maybe their parents got lost or jailed or killed even, and now they're like, man, we're just mad at the crown, we're still upset, and this is our way of getting back at them.
I think we have to watch, or at least me, because if we look at stuff that we watch, entertainment over the years, movies dealing with crime in the past, history, and everything like that, we have to be careful in this particular story projecting our, Chill's gonna like this one, westernized, colonized thoughts onto what crime is in Wakanda. What we consider to be the ghetto is not the ghetto in Wakanda. What we consider to be reason for petty crime is not the reason for petty crime in Wakanda. So we're just gonna have to watch how this story develops. She's giving us to me, a fair amount of information. T'Chaka has said what type of city this is. The young man even says during the chase, I'm not going, it's gonna take me another 2 years to earn enough points to get my my
To do
MTV.
it again. Yeah, to
yeah,
do the chase
oh,
again.
like, so she's outlined it. Let you know, let's just let's just hold off. Let's just hold off and
Agreed.
see how it plays out. That's just me. That's my mindset. Let's just hold off. You didn't give me
I agree.
enough.
I agree.
And you don't want to formulate an opinion too prematurely. I mean, regardless of all of us, getting together, sharing our opinions, and saying what we think and what we observe, is issue one. So, I mean, I can't sit here and just make a total 100% assessment and say, yay, nay, this is a total success, total failure based on the strength of one issue. And that had to be some monumentally terrible writing and art.
I feel that way about the art. Chris Allen went really hard on this
Yeah.
first issue. Now maybe this is the one issue he did where he didn't have a deadline, so he had the time. And I hope that it's consistent with the issue 2, 3, 4, and 5. It probably should be though. Like you're Chris Allen, you know that you're not really gonna get higher opportunity books than this. Like it's very unlikely unless you blow it out of the water but it's like he appreciates the stage that he has. And I'm sure he loves the Black Panther character and views him as a really top tier important character, the same way a guy like, I don't know, John Romita Jr. views Spider-Man as a really top tier. I'm sure it's in the same reverence when it comes to Chris Allen. And that work so far after this issue, so far it's been reflected in his work.
And if I may chill real quick, Chris, I love your artwork. This is from somebody who was, somebody who pointed it out. Afrofuturism, they're not so sure about the AC units hanging out the window in Afrofuturism. I wouldn't have been looking at that myself, but someone did raise that as a point of contention. So, Chris, I ain't putting that off on you. I'm gonna put that off on the editor and the editor-in-chief because you did pass your work to them. So I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, do they not get hot in Wakanda? What are they supposed to have on the windows? I'm just saying.
Well, he's saying
Central.
that for Afrofuturism.
Oh, it's all central AC. I mean,
they shouldn't have the wall, hanging out the window. And I was like, okay, I see what you're saying. I wouldn't have necessarily. I would have, we kind of talked about.
Maybe those are more integral units. Maybe that handles the heating and the cooling for the.
Who says they're air conditioning?
Yeah, who says they're air conditioning?
Listen, listen. Don't shoot the messenger.
Those are Kimoyo windows.
Yeah. What do we think about T'Challa doing this stalky thing that he's doing with the people of Burn In T'Chaka? Like our boy Yobi Yamura, the lawyer. It seems like he is. What's T'Challa doing right now? Playing peekaboo with the people of Burn In T'Chaka.
If you're asking, do we like him stalking people? Or if you're referencing...
Well, okay, it seems like he may be putting something together by the people that he's choosing to follow and watch and send certain signals to that he's around. He seems very interested in this lawyer, though.
This is what I would take from it. And I talked about this. So if we go to Marvel Voices, Wakanda Forever, the education of Shangamire. We talk about Shangamire in that particular story, and we also talk about T'Challa in the very first story, which is, I want to say, like the old ways or something like that. And so T'Challa was reflecting and spoke to the spirits. Nahanda said to him, hey, you got to deal with who you are as a person if you want to rid Wakanda of the people that are against Wakanda. Now that takes place in that story. If you go back to Reginald Hutland's run, and D-Real, help me out if I get it wrong. If you go back to Reginald Hutland's run, when you had Shangamire first show up, he was actually someone T'Challa used to help speak out against the people. Like his words carry a lot of weight. So if T'Challa is trying to get Wakanda back on track, and we don't know the status of Shangamire, like we haven't seen him since the last time a symbiote took him over. He would lean heavily to Iyobi because his father has literally been the counsel for not only his father, but his grandfather as well. So it makes sense if he's trying to get Wakanda back on track. He doesn't quite know who to trust. A relative of Shangamire would be who he sought out. And great story.
My fault. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm just saying, great storytelling to me by Eve Ewing to connect the dots like that. Like, I think Chillmonger alluded to it. This is how you introduce a new character. You're introducing a new character by linking him to an old character. Makes sense.
Don't just tell me that this was his best friend for years. And Shangamire debuted in Coates in his issue number 2 back in 2016.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that, Chill. Thank you.
There you go. I just lost it. What was I getting ready to say? Oh, the fact that he is that he particularly with the lawyer, kind of piggybacking off of what you were saying, like trying to get Wakanda back on track. The fact that he doesn't look first, at least, to a warrior, right, of some sort, to help him find his way back to prominence. Does that signal that he maybe is going to at least give in to the new political direction of Wakanda? Like, maybe I'm trying to find some legal routes, maybe, to become elected back, as opposed to just having some kind of feat to earn their trust back, which was what we would be typically accustomed to, right? Maybe he's going to try and play the game and do it politically.
I'd love if that happens, but I wasn't expecting it. Now I am. You ruined this comic. If that doesn't happen, I'm gonna be mad.
I'm just thinking, like, why seek out a lawyer first? You know?
Well, watch this. See how you connect the dots? What did Yobe walk past? He walked past two people having a debate about whether or not them being under rule was better than them having a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So the seeds of being laid there, and one of the things we don't talk about, and I really just wish people would pump their brakes. And I know I don't want to say critical, but I think I want to say I've been heavily constructively critical. She there's an insert in here. Her overarching plan, what it seems to be, is to get him back to where he used to be.
I hope so.
That's what it feels like. It feels like we're on a straight trajectory back to prominence.
Because there was no questioning democracy in the prior from Tom Riddle. There was this now. Oh, the people in Wakanda, at least in,
love
Tom
it.
Riddle.
Did you call him?
That was
Did
a
you
good
call
reference.
him Tom Riddle?
I'm gonna use parcel
Isn't
tongue the
that
next time I bring. So
he's
the
definitely
thought.
Voldemort here.
I love it.
People in the town square discussing it. This thing didn't just go down smoothly across the whole Wakanda. Just like when T'Challa decided to go international and expose Wakanda to the rest of the world, that didn't go down smoothly either. There were some nationalists who were amongst the people who became villains by the time of Doom War, and it took years and years. And now that's in question, thanks to the canon that Eve Ewing, the genius, the doctor, has provided.
Absolutely.
I like it, and I'm gonna say, shout out to you, Chill, shout out to you, Marcus, for telling me about Eve Ewing. If you think about it, if we go back to He Who Shall Remain Nameless run, there was a soldier who was following Jai's orders. There was some dissension then, because even that soldier had an issue with the plan that Jai had out, because he was loyal to T'Challa. So there are still some people in Wakanda that are loyal to T'Challa. He's gonna always be the king. They ain't even trying to hear nothing about no democracy. No, that's he is. So I'm loving the fact that we got those nuances that she's putting in there and everything.
I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit because I wanted to speed the overview up a little bit so we can just kind of talk about what we think is going to happen in the future. So, he beats up some Hatu Zaraze, knocks somebody off of our boy Yobi. They go back to his crib. Well, first of all, he reveals himself. Yobi thinks that he's an imposter. Doesn't give him the time of day. Shows who he really is. He greets him accordingly. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, Marcus. Or you get too far ahead, because I just think the fans need to hear this from you, Chillmonger, and D-Real. Let's talk about the amount of ass whoopings that T'Challa handed out in this
book alone. I swear to God, it ain't hard. I swear to God, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. Like, this was simple. This was child's play.
Even on the cover.
I just want to get your take on it. I just want to, before we move along, and we can just get y'all take on that right there.
Look at his eyes ain't swole up. Ain't nobody smacking him out of the atmosphere. Ain't nobody yelling at him.
He probably put more hands on people in this one book alone than in the entire
run.
Yeah. Yeah, no cap.
Come on, chill. Come on, chill. We
Huh.
need. Come on, chill. Come on. Don't do
Even
that.
the teapot wasn't safe. That had to get crumbled in T'Challa's presence.
They beating up teapots too.
He's a force.
Did everybody catch the fact that they are that Yobi's
Ooh,
father and T'Chaka were somehow associated, and they were together as children?
that's his
That's cool.
advisor.
Yep,
That,
yep.
that's in
Yeah.
that story. The education.
That was his advisor. That was his wife's advisor. That was his father's advisor. He been around a while. He's one of those retroactive "I've been here" guys.
Now hold on. This me. They never did name the Black Panther, who is Azuri's father, when Shangamar was his friend, his young friend. Yeah, I did. See, I be reading. If you could sort of kind of help us with his name, it ain't your responsibility because you didn't write that story. But if we could somehow
Get that cleared up.
You can name it Tethio now.
Oh well, I mean, hey, I take it. You feel me?
Well, with him calling with Inyobi referring to his dad by first name. That's such a small thing, but there's so much storytelling that's done now. How did their relationship dissolve? How much?
Yeah.
And when did it happen? You know, like, and what was the reason of all the reasons? It could be like a bad reason. Like, I could be upset with why they decided to make this, or I could love it. I could say, oh, that makes so much sense. That's why he was distant from him, and that's why he had to live over here. There depends on how they handle it. They could ruin it, or they can make it like spice up the story by giving us a great reason why he refers to dad as first name, and it's complicated. However they put it.
Yeah.
It's definitely an ideology reason based on Shangamai as a character. How he's been written in the past, he has very strong beliefs. In that first story, he was very much about whatever the kingdom wanted, and then he learned from the teacher that kings must be open to adjusting, to evolving. It's not always about the kingdom. You got to see outside the kingdom. And then you get to that story with Coates, where T'Challa urged him to speak out to the people. It's got to be an ideology difference. That had to be what, because the son is now a lawyer. His father never was an attorney. He was an advisor.
And a lawyer where democracy wasn't even a thing. So he went and practiced law at a time where they weren't that wasn't a thing in his. Well, they probably still had attorneys in some form or fashion, but not to the degree that it is in the democracy they're running right now. Let's see here.
I think Shangamar would have been more rebellious, more of a rebel to the throne. And if his son is that crazy about T'Challa, then he's loyal to the throne. So there's some type of difference there. But I'm here for it because Shangamar's still alive. So somebody got to say we can see him shortly.
New character alert! New character alert! As T'Challa slides out.
That's what I was waiting to talk about.
Oh yeah. As T'Challa slides out, Shorty slides in. A white Wakandan scorpion, looks like.
Yeah. What's her name? Besu?
Supposed to be an antelope.
Well,
Be
my
now
thing
an
is
antelope.
this. I am quite, regardless of what she is, and this is just my theory, I am quite convinced she is the henchman of the two other obviously villainous individual siblings that have a death lock.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, on the next page. I would assume that there's some a relation there. She's at Yobi's office looking for some information. She's only going to not kill him because she figured it would be empty when she came. On the next page, we got the two villainous twins we're talking about, and they got a death lock.
That's tough right there. Look, my fault. My fault. I didn't know you was gonna be here. I'm gonna let you slide because I didn't know you was gonna be here. That's tough right there. I ain't never seen that. I ain't never heard that one before. But I wish all people that broke into your home and you were there were as mannerable and as respectful. You know what?
You know what? Since you wasn't even supposed to be here, Playboy, I'm gonna let you live. Don't even worry about it.
But hey, don't tell nobody. Now me, if I'm him, I'm agreeing not to tell nobody for a whole bunch of different reasons. If I'm the character, hey, I ain't you come on, girl, you come on in whenever you want to. You need me to fix you.
wherever T'Challa holding up, hey fam, me and you want me to help you, right? Well, I have to be alive to help, so maybe we can do this together. Hey, question on that. Should he have his base of operations in Wakanda right now? Should his
Yeah,
base of operations be set up outside of Wakanda?
I vote Wakanda.
It should be. So when he has to run, right? When someone's in hot pursuit of him, you want his hideout to be within the borders.
Sure.
Well,
No one knows about Panther.
now you don't open up another can.
See,
Okay.
that's I'm thinking like
Okay.
he's
Now,
hottest in Wakanda right now, so I would want to at least have a spot to run to if I needed it.
well, first of all, let's bear in mind he ain't supposed to be there. He's exiled.
But that's my point. Like if I have to dart at some
And
point,
he's rocking 2 different outfits. And he's still an Avenger too. So he's changing clothes and he's dipping across the country. And he's got to have some tech.
And then
Maybe not much, but just he's got to, or using Avenger stuff too. So
you ready? So this is me. I happen to know that Cantu, the other one, one of his best friend, his friend from childhood, is still alive and well in the mute zone in Wakanda. And he has access to vibranium because they just leave it laying around in the wilderness of Wakanda. And he's built a laboratory. We see T'Challa got him a little laboratory in there and everything like that he didn't put together. And one of the things this Cantu was able to do was make fauna and flowers and stuff like that, animals and plant life out of vibranium. Look very, very real. So T'Challa got him a nice, T'Challa got him a nice little hideout right there that don't look like a hideout and everything, based to his homeboy. That's his childhood friend. He good.
I'll be interested to see where he's hiding out at within Burning T'Chaka when they actually show it to us. Because I can already tell it's gonna be a thing for me. Like if it's something that's like painfully obvious, like hiding in plain sight, I don't think I'd like that. Now if he's got some caches, some hideouts, some safe houses from his days when obviously he's Black Panther.
He was on a boat. He was on a boat in the middle of the ocean when Carol Danvers found it.
Does that answer your question? Nicolum just asked if the Avengers is happening at the same time as this. Yeah, it is happening.
Yeah.
There was a page on here that showed you that Carol recruited him to the Avengers.
Oh, he was
during
just
Black
on the
Panther.
boat when Carol came to get him. That doesn't mean where he's running his
I ain't saying he's running it off the boat. What I'm saying is he got a lot of different resources.
No, he's around. He's not staying anywhere. He showed us that he's bouncing around.
Exile clearly doesn't mean broke.
We know he got access to a royal talent, right? That was at the end of that other dude's run. We know he got a ship that can go in space. That was in Marvel Voices. We got that. Good looking on that one. We know he got a boat because we seen that in the Avengers and everything like that.
He doesn't even really need a base. He doesn't need one at all. Like he could go where he needs to be.
Yeah, safe houses.
My dog nice with it.
Anybody who could come up with kill switch protocols, I'm sure they got more than one place.
All right, gentlemen. So, overall thoughts on issue 1. Chill, go first.
I hope that this is not the beginning of a romance between he and Bisa, because what's the point? Every time they ever get a character who's female with T'Challa, it never lasts. I don't expect this one to. So let's just have her be a villain that's evil with abs.
Agreed. Yo, what you got?
Just tell the story. Superhero story. Let the story evolve organically. And what happens. Don't force no issues. Just focus on telling T'Challa's story and getting him back to where he's supposed to be at. And everything else will take care of itself.
I keep it even simpler than that. Respect T'Challa's gangster. That's all I need you to do. Put T'Challa where he been at. Give me some Christopher Priest level T'Challa. Give me some Reginald Hutton level T'Challa. Don McGregor. Give me some of that. You know, if you say you coming to make it right, make it right. Make it so all of them people will smile when they see your run and go, okay, she's one of us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So we, me and Theo talked about this last week. We did this, we did a live, and we talked about what we were expecting from this first issue. And one of the main things that we both wanted, obviously, was a good story, but also was that we put this character back on where he's supposed to be in terms of stature, right? And so, just from the first issue alone, right? And I know we got bamboozled early with Voldemort, but here, she's clearly setting us on a path for him to regain something. You know why I know that? Because he's talking about how much he's lost now in the onset, right? He's showing us how much he's devoid of now so that he can gain it and feel triumphant at the end.
When
And
is the end?
that's a cohesive story arc. That's what I can tell.
When does the triumph happen? Because I don't think readers are interested in reading the bottom tier, low level T'Challa for a long time. I think
No,
that
right,
they
you're
read
right,
this,
you're right.
the movie fans, the casuals who just know T'Challa for being epic, gonna read this and see him in the place he's at. And then when they'll reach issue 6 and they'll go, oh, he's still there. And then they'll reach issue 10 and oh, he's still there. And then the book's canceled because people just don't want to be interested
You know
in a
why I don't think
non-king.
that's gonna that's gonna happen to her? 2 reasons. Monica Rambeau and Voldemort's run. Monica Rambeau, I think she intended to do more, but it was only a 5-issue mini, right?
Well, she knew that going into it. There was no,
but
it wasn't a
did it
secret.
not feel like at some point it went from, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna build up to something else. It felt like they just kind of
Yeah,
wrapped it
because
up in
she
the
had
last
mutant
issue.
powers. She had mutant powers, and then that was kind of dropped the next time.
You're right, yeah, and it didn't really feel like it didn't feel cohesive at all, and I don't think that was all her. I felt like she so much has told us that the MCU influence was kind of on her back on that book, even in the title. So I don't think that was all on her, because it just kind of felt like we were all over the place at the tail end of that book. The second reason is Homeboy. Okay, if a Hollywood screenwriter can't get more than 15 issues here, I better get on my horse now. I just had this 5-issue mini that I wanted to do something different with, and they meddled in it. The guy before me had an abysmal run. They only gave him 15 issues. I have no idea how long I'm going to be here. Let me do what I want to do with this character, biggest character she's ever written, and do it early. I don't think we're going to linger.
This is what I said, and I think we don't do enough, but we should. Eve Ewing is the author. As I alluded to, speaking to Chill and D-Real on Saturday, Will Moss and CB Cebulski were there from the last run.
Yeah.
It is incumbent upon us to not just speak about her, but speak about them too.
Oh, you know we talked about Moss and Cebulski when we were forced to read those other issues.
So you have it. She's the writer. You're the people responsible for making sure the money comes in.
Mm-hmm.
We would love for her to know everything about this character, but that's not her job. It is yours. So I would urge people that when you have a problem going forward with how this character is written, you hold them to accountable. That said, what I would say to Eve is this: they sat back and let the last person burn it to the ground. No course of correction, nothing. Do not trust them to help you get this character right. We're the fans. We love this character. We're educated on this character. We want you to win. Do not rely on your editor and your editor-in-chief to get you the W.
What comic book has she done where she relied on the editor? Does the editor really have that much knowledge on Ironheart?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: there's no way John Ridley should have I said his name. There's no way that dude should have been on that book that long if the editor-chief
50
gave him.
push-ups.
I do them. There's no way in the world. So with her there,
I
they
expect the
there. They
same
picked up.
hands-off approach. I expect the same. We're not looking at it. That's a Black Panther book happening over there. We don't care. Same as
Well,
when
in this case though, with her, I hope that's the case. Keep your hands off of it. Let her do what she wants to do, because even just from there was really nothing for me to go off of with Ridley as a comic book writer where I can say, okay, I've got trust in where he's going. When it started getting
you didn't read
shaky,
that
I
Esquire
immediately hopped
article.
off. Huh?
Oh, you didn't read the Esquire article?
Oh man. Anyways,
It was
I
well
read it
written.
after. I read it after, but I didn't know. With her, at least I've read some things from her, so like I have a bit more trust. So if you're going to take your hands off and let somebody do their direction, what they wanted to do with the character, I trust that one a little bit more than Voldemort. I think I said it.
I think I'm where Marcus is, and as a fellow poet, I trust it. Okay, I know she's coming from a space that is uniquely her own, and it's based on what she knows or was told about that character. I think she's going to let her conscience carry her and not be swayed
Yeah, man,
by
let it go.
what she's
Let
being
it go. Shoot
told,
for
and
the stars.
because
Yeah.
they hired her for a reason. Okay, at least that they at least believe, or they present as if they believe she is the person for the job to do what we need to get done. I just like same with Pidley. I'm gonna give her a chance. I want to see what she's gonna do, and I think she got more than a snowball chance in hell, at least better than the last fella that did it. To do better. That shouldn't be a hard hurdle to jump over. The thing she's got to do is make it uniquely her own. And when she puts her touch on it, that's what's going to make the run, quote unquote, iconic.
I agree,
The
fellas.
art alone, if Chris Allen is with her through more than 15 issues, the art alone is going to be like, oh, did you catch that, Joe? Because I just showed a picture of the Black Panther's new costume to a buddy of mine, and they was like, that's just dope, So already the art is winning.
I need the action figure. I need that.
Yes, please.
Did you see what Gray wrote? Gray said when T'Challa runs that fade on Steve Rogers, he will officially be back. Do you know how the
Man, bring it
artwork
back,
Chris Allen
please.
is going to use? When Chris Allen gets that on his script, oh, that's what I'm drawing today?
Oh my god. Oh
Splash
my
page of a
goodness.
spine buster and everything.
The rematch between T'Challa and Steve is going to be something we all. Now that one will be the one I get like 30, all 30 of the variants.
Now, he'd be like, that shield is made of vibranium. Come here. And if he gets the vibranium
Right.
shield.
Bruh. I mean, and don't they realize, what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff, if I would have rather that Sam and T'Challa squared off and he had on his gear. Wait a minute, ain't that gear Wakandan? I might have a code in my suit right now to shut all of that down.
Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
He was squabbling in a jersey.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say it like this. If your character beat up T'Challa and the other person's run, if you let your character show up in Eve's run, based on what I saw in the first issue, I already know how that's gonna happen. I already know how that's gonna play.
Smoke.
And they already got, they already done showed in Avengers, they still kind of towards each other. Because if you recall in that book, all T'Challa came and said was, I'm sorry about your parents, essentially. All the other stuff you said, I'm still, you still on the list, bruh. And you and Steve are y'all number one and number two that need phase ran real quick to show y'all ain't what y'all think y'all are.
I'm a bit worried about the way he's scripted in Avengers, though. He's a bit playful for my liking. Like, he's too light. He should be more serious. English is my second language, not my first language, so I'm not gonna jump to the clever talk that someone who's like who knows the language would get to. I don't know how to explain it properly, but He's too playful.
You're still kind of in a place of depression. You shouldn't be quipping.
That too.
Yeah.
Are we gonna make every writer that dares write T'Challa in Marvel continuity right now carry the depression torch for him though? Like, is that just gonna be a continuity wide thing? He has to be super sad wherever he, or super serious, overly serious. Well, I mean, I guess he's a pretty serious character.
He's never been a character of mirth unless you count the Jack Kirby run, which I don't think Jack Kirby writes character or wrote characters for characterization. He was more like an action guy. Oh, he's like, well, here's my plot, punch him in the face. You know what I'm saying? What's the solution to the comic? Punch him in the face. You know, and that was pretty much how his comics went. So when you saw that Jack Kirby version of T'Challa during the Christopher Priest run, that was, well, you find out one's time displaced by the again King Solomon's Frogs. You find out, you know, he was, and joy, and like Robin Hood, and I'm swinging off of vines, and tra la la la, and life, you know, and so he was more that kind of, you know, and we're all reading, and then we're like, that ain't T'Challa, but it was T'Challa for about 15 issues. That was T'Challa. So again, writers.
There's one more question in the chat I wanted to pose to us before we get out of here. I knew it would inevitably lead us back here.
Is it the movie?
I didn't know how we would get here, but we're here. Connoisseurs, triple salute. Question for the panel. You think we'll get a recast, or should I put my hopes back in the safe?
That's why I think
let me massage the question for connoisseurs a little bit. Does a successful comic book run here that we're getting ready to embark on with Eve Ewing change the current trajectory of T'Challa the character in comic books, or on the big screen? T'Challa the character on the big screen, cinema.
I think it makes it difficult. I think it complicates matters. She has a successful run. And if Marvel's directive is we don't want to recast the character, and I could be wrong, I could be overly optimistic here, but if she has a successful run, let's say to Chill's point, the character gets in the comic gets in the top 10. I think if you're Marvel, you have a difficult decision to make. And that's as far as I'll go with it. I think you have a difficult decision to make. It's simple right now, not as simple as it used to be. But if this character is overwhelmingly successful, the comic book jumps up and you got Chill talking about, hey man, this comic book is in, you know, it's in the diamond numbers now and everything like that. It's gonna be hard to move forward with any Black Panther.
Miracle. So part of the reason the sales in the prior was good was Alex Ross covers. There's just collectors who know Alex Ross covers. That's not happening here. They're going with the cheapest amount. Like Chris Allen, no disrespect at all, but when they say Stormbreaker as an artist, that's just basically we're giving you that rookie pay. So the Stormbreaker is not. Anyways, the sales are not gonna be top 10 or top 20 or even top 30. They're gonna be low selling, but will they be just profitable enough to continue doing? And I think
we don't know what if she writes for 50 issues? If she goes for a long time, obviously you expect the sales to climb. And I'm not really necessarily looking for a target. I guess relative to general
62 is the record. That's the magic number, just like with home runs.
Which one?
We're 62.
62 is the highest it's been?
Christopher Priest, 62 issues.
Yeah, so
62. That's as long as she's going. Okay. All right, so let's say she ties Priest. She gets 60 issues, 62 issues. If she's around that long, we know it's at least profitable enough for them to go, what's that, like 5-6 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So then at that point, if we've been telling a successful T'Challa run for 6 years, do we think there's some sort of related project that comes up in an animated series, something on the big screen, TV show, something?
Unlikely.
Something has to come from that, right?
There's not an excuse not to at that point.
If there's not an excuse right now.
Well, I'm saying I'm talking what Marcus was saying as far as if Eve has success for 5 years, on that run, there's not a reason not to have all of that stuff. Because let's just be honest, that's where, you know, you got to get that idea from somewhere. And that idea, if it's constantly being paraded in other forms of media, then that's what you bring to the table when you negotiating. Hey, we got action figures of this character. Hey, this character has a cartoon. Hey, this character has an animated movie. Hey, this character has a soundtrack. Hey, this character has bath soap. Whatever it is, if they already doing all of that kind of stuff marketing wise, why would you not make a movie? Unless
here's where I'm at with it. Yeah, here's what I'm at with it. The place Disney was at when they made this decision initially is so far from where they are now, right? Like it's not even comparable,
it's
right?
a different
So I think
CEO.
new C, right, right. Their CFO is just out. Plus, they don't seem like they're going to have a film a film this year that's going to net a profit, which is crazy to say. But across all of the film studios under the Disney umbrella, they're not going to have a single film project this year that nets a profit. So everything's on the table, just generally, I would think. The one thing that would have to happen is that not only would the comic book need to be good, but the characterization for T'Challa would have to be good enough to get people to have thirst for it outside of the traditional mediums, right? And I think that's kind of what happened with Miles, right? He pops up on that game on the first Spider-Man game, and people are like, "All right, well, you know, maybe I can rock with this character." All of a sudden, he has his own game. We've gotten 2 movies. He's getting ready to complete a trilogy, and they're working on live action. If we can use this run to create a thirst for T'Challa outside of what he's traditionally been, which is big screen or comic books, I think that's another avenue to where, okay, so now if he's popping up in animation and is popular, okay, so now we've gotten 2. Now he's popular comic book wise. Now he's popular in animation. Maybe we get a Black Panther game. It's those, if we're not going directly back to film,
yeah,
you're going to have to prove it through some of those other grounds, which is proven successful for other characters such as Miles.
You know, it's crazy that you say that. One of the things we used to say in the Marine Corps is, and I don't know if they said it in the Navy, D, you help me out, is one old ish will mess up 1,000 attaboys.
Yes, they did.
So here's what you have, Marcus. Everything that you just said, they've already done when it comes to T'Challa. It's crazy when I think about the number of cartoons, video games that this guy has showed up in, and that the momentum that he had was ruined with one dumbass damn decision, a deceptive decision, a disingenuous decision. So now we're saying that all of that momentum that he built up in what's the video game that I got down here, that I got up here, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, him showing up in the Adventures of Iron Man, showing up in X-Men animated series, Spider-Man, all the momentum that this dude built up got canceled, nullified, negated by a BS decision and a bad 15-issue comic book run. So now we're sitting up here trying to say, okay, we've got to build this character back up. That's why I said, in regards to whether or not we'll get the character recast, my initial statement is this: Marvel might feel some type of way, piggybacking off of what you said, we're so far removed from where they were at initially.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be difficult if this character becomes successful again, because this character has never had a problem moving merchandise. That the one problem this character had in moving merchandise, this IP, was that last movie. Other than that, he moves.
But even in that, you can't say that he had the problem because he wasn't present.
Right, exactly. So
yeah.
The Black Panther action figure, that moved. It was the other action figures that didn't move, but that one that was supposed to be him, or the 2, because they released another one that looked like Chadwick Boseman, those action figures move. So the character is marketable. You can make money. The question is, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of pressure. It's gonna be. Is she successful with this run? What you gonna do? Because the character is marketable.
Secret Wars is coming in 2027 now. That delays everything. So Black Panther 3, I heard Letitia Wright gave some comments about it. Of course, we're not getting anything until after Secret Wars in 4 years from now. By then, who knows? Like, they'll be in a different place, different CEO. They might be like, "Oh, that's a reset, right? Well, we could just say T'Challa's alive again." And no, I'm not talking about the T'Childs. I'm talking about actual T'Challa.
I think they're
I'm
eyeing
sorry,
that.
go ahead.
No, go ahead, D. Go ahead.
Well, real quick before I forget my thought, what I was going to do is I'm going to throw something out there. How long do recasts usually take?
6 months for Harrison Ford.
Not long. Yeah.
Well, depending on, I'm talking like these major characters we've had that have had dozens and dozens. Like when you see these memes or you hear people talk about, well, there's been this many Superman, there's been this many Batman, there's been this many James Bond. In those instances, you either had
like a decade, 5 to 10 years.
You either had like a run where that character was just consecutively seen year after year after year after year after year. Or there was one movie and then you didn't see that character again for like 10 years, 12 years, 8 years, 9 years. So if we extrapolate, is that what we're looking at?
I mean, where are we at with it from Endgame? Endgame was 2018.
19.
19? Okay. So we're 4 years in. Only 4 more years to go, folks. Strap in.
They've reached that benchmark where they have literally no excuse. Ain't nobody grieving for no 15 years. You know what I'm saying? You've got a perfectly good premise and reason to put him back in. So it's just I'm gonna calm down. I'm sorry.
You all right? I think that they are eyeing Secret Wars as a potential reset for what they got going. They'd have to be, because where else do you go from here? The current phase we are in, the best attempt that they had, which I thought it was actually a pretty good movie, was Guardians, right? That's the best they got. If Guardians is the best you got, that is a far cry from what you guys were doing even 2 or 3 years ago. So they really honestly may be mulling over a big switch to try and get them back to a manageable enough starting spot that they can get some of the original characters back. But if you do that, you're not going to start over with the people with Robert Downey and Chris Evans. Of course you're not going to do that. Why would you do that? If you're going to reset the timeline, or you're going to reset your runway, clear it out, we're going to do this all over again. Well, no, you're not going to bring back Robert Downey that's in his 50s. You're not even going to really, you maybe Chris Evans, but then that messes up the whole continuity if you start mixing and matching. Now you're doing DC stuff. I think
it does no good if they don't change the mandate. If they don't change their directive, and I'm not just speaking for Marvel in this regard. If they don't change the mandate in both studios, it's not going to matter what film they throw out, they're going to get the same result. They have got to change the mandate. They have got to start hiring people that know and care about the comic books. They're not doing that. And they keep making that mistake over and over. And everybody wants to holler superhero fatigue. That is not what that is. You are releasing BS movies, trying to get people to come in based off the name of the director, the name of the actor, and some sort of storyline that you just gonna take the title off that storyline and put it on the movie, and the movie has nothing to do with the storyline. If they do not change the directives, it don't matter what movie come out, it don't matter what year it come out, they're gonna get the same result.
You know what I can't wait to see? Invincible. You know what I can't wait to see? The Boys. I am not fatigued of those superhero stories in the least bit. I can't wait for them to come back on because they're great stories, right? And they're great stories for the sake of the storytelling, for the sake of the arcs that they're telling, the characters that they are describing, and nothing else. You know, that is what it is. Fellas, I definitely appreciate y'all coming on and talking with us about issue 1. Issue 2? Well, I don't know if we'll do another live. Maybe we'll do a dedicated video. I don't know. We'll work it out.
Respect. I enjoy sharpening iron with you boys.
Sure, absolutely. Everybody, chill. You start. Tell us where we can find you, and let us know what you got going on.
Chillmonger. It's T'Challa is not T'Challa. Subscribe. No, you got to be clear. You got to be, because they could be like, oh look, you guys
gotta
want
be
T'Challa, right?
Go ahead, Theo. Let us know where we can find you.
I ain't saying, I'm just saying with Theo B, recast T'Challa all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
All day. And last but certainly not least, Be Real with D Real, Mr. Atkins. Where can we find you, sir?
If you're digging what a brother's shoveling, put some dirt in my bucket. Comment, like, subscribe, and share to the Be Real with D Real page on YouTube. And you can find me on most social media. And T'Challa that died in Black Panther Wakanda Forever was a Skrull.
Hey, please just do it. Do it. Secret Invasion starts tomorrow. Do it, goddammit. Do it. Have the intestinal fortitude. Do it.
They also could have made it the blip, but they decided not to. They're not gonna do it this time either.
I
They
know
got
they're
all
not
kind
going
of
know,
ways,
right?
bro.
But
They
how
got all
epic
kind of
would
ways.
it be if they did?
If they saying
Yeah.
Rhodey might be a Skrull, T'Challa can be a Skrull too. As a matter of fact, make all the brothers Skrulls. All of them.
He died of an unexplained illness, y'all. They didn't even attempt to tell us what it actually was, and nobody else really reacted. That screams. That's a Skrull death.
What kind of
And why at his funeral did he ascend when the city of the dead is down below?
They went and got that Skrull body.
Don't say that. See, now you doing too much. That's comic book knowledge. That's comic book knowledge. That's comic
Don't
book
do
knowledge.
that.
Can't use that. Can't use that. That's cheating.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're rewatching, do the same. We'll be back here next month to talk about issue 2.
For sure.
Peace.
All right, y'all.
Peace.
Appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah.
I hope they got that, Josh.
Do it. Do it till you satisfied. Whatever it is. Do it.
That's your song, huh?
I mean, some songs just fit the mood. You feel what I'm saying? Like, just fit the mood.
No, I feel you, man. I'm starving. The baby has been waking us up
I think we're
super
still
early.
live.
What's
Well,
up?
you go get you some food, big dog. I didn't
Oh,
ate
you
the
still
mystery. Yeah.
Cut us out, Josh. We're out of here. Cut the bloopers. Cut it.
Peace, fellas.
All right, y'all. Yeah, we'll get out. I'll see y'all.
Still live though. I mean,